We're here at Huel HQ, who are pioneering the future of food. They have world-famous investors like Idris Elba and backers like Stephen Bartlett and Grace Beverley. They've now sold over 300 million meals right across the world. We'll be diving into all the jobs, from product development to nutrition to marketing, and even speaking to their personal trainer on site at the Huel HQ gym. So what's your job here, Winnie?
I'm a product developer for our instant meals category.
So you make it taste good then?
Exactly, that's exactly what we do.
What's the best bit about your job?
Definitely when we have new products and people are super excited to try them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What's your favourite?
I love the bolognese. I just think it's such a classic. I love the beefiness and the tomato-ness, and I just love it.
So how do you go about when you start with like a blank sheet of paper thinking, right, we need to make a new instant meal? What's the sort of thought process for it?
To be honest, we have a lot of research at the beginning, a lot of data to pull through what kind of flavours we should be targeting. It's a joint effort between other teams, such as our nutrition team, to ensure that we have all the right ingredients going in, as well as working with our marketing team to ensure that we're reaching the right flavours as well.
And how much do the ingredients change the flavour, and how much is it just flavourings that are added?
I would say it affects it massively.
Okay.
Because sometimes, like, even though it tastes great, sometimes it just affects the makeup of the product.
Yeah.
So it might be that we've achieved a really great product, but it might not work well with some of the ingredients that are inside, or it might not hydrate as well. So it's also making sure there's a fine balance between it tasting good and it working well in the application as well.
Haven't had one of these on since my first baby daughter was born. So can we make a product then?
Of course, yeah. Like to go through our product, spaghetti carbonara, something that I worked on from the beginning.
Because these bits taste amazing, right? It tastes like meat chorizo when you're kind of eating it, I think.
Yeah, so have you tried our carbonara before?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, so these are our bacon pieces. So it has protein, it's also flavoured as well, and it adds great texture to the product as well. So why don't you have a try?
All right,
Just
so
have a
then
piece,
just try one on its own.
Yeah, of
Do you know, I've never actually tried just one on its own. God, it is really, yeah. It's surprisingly good.
It's really smoky, but of course, once it hydrates, you get the
It
texture.
tastes like those bacon bits that sometimes you put on the top of soup. Like,
yeah,
maybe
absolutely.
that's just from my childhood. But anyway. Lots of bacon, vegetable soup, and then just loads of bacon bits on top. These are the noodle bits, right, as well?
Yeah, these are our spaghetti pieces. It is raw, so maybe don't try it. We still need to hydrate it.
Right. Whoops.
This is our powder blend as well. So it has our flavourings, it has all our vitamins and minerals that our nutrition team ensure that it has everything that we need, nutrient-wise. And then these are our bacon pieces that we add in.
So which bits have got the sort of, like, so they've all got nutrition in them, right? They've all got different bits of it, right? So it's not like, that's not just flavouring, that's a big portion of it is flavouring, but there's also stuff in there as well.
Yeah, so we have oil powders to ensure there's the right level of fats. We have our vitamins and mineral blends to ensure that we have all the nutrients that we need. And then these protein pieces provide protein as well as flavour. And then we have our spaghetti, which contribute to the bulk of our carbs.
Right, okay, get it.
Would you like to just give our pouch a shake?
Yeah.
And we'll get you to make up some carbonara. Yeah, give it a shake.
But I can't see any bacon bits, you see. This is what I worry about when I'm doing it. I'm like, oh, am I getting enough bacon bits?
I'm sure you have. I saw you mix it.
Yeah?
Yeah. So you can see it. It's just the powders coated the bacon pieces here.
Oh, yeah, it does, doesn't it? Okay.
So just pour up to 200.
Up to 200 in there. And you get some people like mixing flavours together and stuff, don't you, as well? Like there are all these forums. What's the craziest thing you've seen on there?
So I think this is a Huel tried and tested, to be fair, internally. I have seen some combos such as mac and cheese and Mexican chili, combining the spiciness with the creaminess of the mac and cheese. Oh yeah, we do have one Huel resident who mixes a lot of different grains and pastas. Too wild, I can't even remember all of them.
So when you're kind of creating a product, you've got all these different types of things, and there's just some of this is just like any other kind of like spice rack that somebody would have at home, right? But talk us through the flavour star that you've got here and how that kind of works.
So this flavour star really helps with development. So there'll be different components that may enhance some of the flavours, and it's just more as a source of inspiration. So for instance, if I was working on something that was super spicy, I could perhaps balance it with something that's sweet as well.
Okay, right. And then and if something was too bitter, you might think, okay, well, add salt and lemon to it, or salt and umami.
Yeah, exactly. They'll balance each other out.
Fine. And whereabouts does that is that a bit more towards the kind of like end of the process then, when you're kind of thinking about what to kind of put in those things?
I would say that's even stemming from the beginning of our development, because we have all of these different oil powders that might contribute some bitter flavours that we might need to draw on some of these herbs and spices to help balance out.
It's tasty. Right. I'm breaking the Ed Miliband rule of eating on TV. It's like a bad idea, right?
So what do you think? Could Jimmy work here? What is his rating out of 10?
Maybe if we could train him up a bit more, definitely.
Right, yeah, we're going to go on to the next thing, and we're speaking to a few more people about all the different jobs here. So I'm currently sat in Julian Hearn, the founder of Huel's seat. So I'm now talking to one of the most powerful people in Huel, I've decided. You are leading the insights team. Can you introduce yourself and tell us your job?
Yes, so my name is Cam. I have been at Huel about 4.5 years now. I started in customer experience, but moved over to join the insights team.
How do you get information about what people might want? Because perhaps they almost don't know what they want.
Yeah, it's a really good point. There's a couple of ways we can do it. We have a lot of existing data through looking at what people are contacting our customer experience team about. We also use social listening tools to kind of scrape the internet and see the sentiment associated with various things. So
that's people sort of tweeting, really enjoyed my new banana flavour Huel this morning.
Exactly, and either whether they tag us or they might not tag us and just use our name, we can still find that data and look into it.
What's been the most surprising insight that you've come across in the last couple of years?
It's always really interesting for me to see the gender split of our products and what people buy, and we might assume one product is going to be really female-led, but actually it's male-led. So funnily enough, Complete Protein, the protein powder, is the highest percentage of females purchase that product compared to other products.
Is that the sort of social listening then again, because people will often take to Twitter to kind of complain about, well, anything in life really, but yeah, their Huel delivery being late or whatever.
There is obviously a lot of negative out there, but what is arguably more interesting and more valuable is the positive side, where the customer experience team won't receive that. People tend to email and call, as you say, when they're having a negative situation, but the positives are equally as important, so we can keep pushing on those aspects as well.
Which country likes the sweetest stuff?
The US have a really big sweet tooth, but Germans tend to have a really big savoury tooth.
That is what I would have thought. So Flo, you look after German customer experience.
That's it, yeah.
And we've just heard that the Germans like the bitter flavours more and the Americans like the sweet flavours more.
Yeah, Germany is definitely more of a savoury market.
Why do you think that is?
They do eat like all kinds of sweets as well, but I just feel like with cold cuts and everything being quite popular in German, it's just more of a savoury market in general. What's
one of the most sort of bizarre random emails you've received?
I think one of the most random ones where someone was, oh, the Huel powder is quite dry to use, and turns out they were just eating the powder dry rather than having it as a shake, which was an experience.
Fawn, what's your job?
I look after influencers, partnerships and podcasts at Huel.
And what's been your favourite creator campaign you've run?
Well, at the moment, I don't know if you've heard of him, but we're working with a guy called Hardest Geezer, and he's running the entire length of Africa. He's trying to become the first person to run the entire length of Africa. Yeah. So that's been really interesting to work with him, trying to get him products when, you know, he's in the middle of nowhere, he's going in and out of signal. But yeah, I think
So how do you do that? How do you get a product to, you know, a random sort of, do you use what, 3 words or something?
No, actually with him it's really easy because we send it to his girlfriend in London.
Right.
And then I think they do a big drop once a month where they send all his products and everything he needs to Africa, wherever he is at the time.
Amazing. What's the most surprising thing about your job?
I think some of the prices that the agents come to you with for some of the creators. My job involves quite a lot of negotiation with influencers and agents, and tends to be agents that sometimes I think they just pick a number out of thin air. And they just see if they can get away with it. And it probably does work on some people who are new to influencer marketing. They don't know what prices people generally work with. They might just say yes the first price, but at least I know after a few years of experience that you negotiate.
But give us an idea of like the sort of range of like prices that you would sort of, I mean obviously it depends how long it goes, and I know that's like as long as a piece of string question, but I do think it's interesting for creators to actually hear sort of like a range of where things start and finish up at.
Yeah, I mean it is exactly as you say, so we can work with really micro, or nano, actually we call them nano influencers.
What's a nano influencer?
We'd say it's like someone on Instagram between like 1,000 and 10,000 followers. I think each company or each influencer marketing agency will have their own measurements for what a nano micro influencer is, but that's what we do at Huel. They would probably be in the hundreds of pounds for a post, but then you can get up to these huge YouTubers like Mr. Beast, or those people who've got millions and millions of subscribers.
That's millions and millions of pounds.
Yeah, we have been quoted like over $1 million before. We've never worked with anyone like that, but some of them do quote prices like that. Yeah.
Give us examples of some of the creators you've worked with.
Well, I think everyone knows about our partnership with Stephen Bartlett.
Yes, it would be difficult to log on social media at the moment and not see that.
Yeah, so we've obviously been sponsoring him for a while, for quite a few years. We've worked with a girl called Lauren Jumps, who's a skipper on Instagram. She got really big during COVID. Obviously the guy running the full length of Africa.
Yeah.
We've also working currently with another runner called William Googe, and he ran the whole length of America.
What about some ones that aren't sort of perhaps fitness physical? I mean, I can see why that works, but what are some ones that aren't?
Well, we recently worked with a DJ, a famous DJ called Sam Divine.
Okay.
And she did a New Year's Eve kind of rave in Wembley Arena, and we made her a whole Huel designed green room, and she was drinking Huel all the way through her tour through Australasia, so New Zealand, Australia, which was really exciting and something a bit different that we haven't done before.
Influencer creator marketing, really new space. Which other brands are kind of doing it well, do you think? It's something that a lot of young people want to do.
Yeah, well, I think everyone knows Gymshark are doing it well. I think they were the first big UK company to start doing that well. We were actually speaking about this the other day. We think Skims, so Kim Kardashian's brand, they're doing it really well at the moment because they seem to jump on things really quickly. So, for example, they've just had Usher do a campaign with them just before he performed at the Super Bowl. So they jumped on, they knew he was about to perform at the Super Bowl, so they said, well, let's jump on that while he's on the way up again. So basically people who are doing that, who are really jumping on trends, jumping on celebs, jumping on creators quickly as they're on their way up. But again, clothing, I would say, from experience doing food, I think clothing is a little bit of an easier space to do with influencers. Because they just have to put it on and wear it. We have a lot of explaining to do at Huel, like, what is this product? How do you make it? Let's show it, like someone making it. Let's do like a what I eat in a day and show what point in the day they're using Huel, because people don't understand it. And you can't just do an influencer post with someone holding a Huel shaker and just assume anyone who sees that picture is going to understand what that is, what that product is. There's a lot of explaining to do.
You must have one of the best jobs that people aspire to, right?
Yeah, I think people are always very interested in my role. I actually got put in this role. I wanted to do marketing. I did marketing at uni, but Huel interviewed me and I think they saw something in me. Maybe it was the pink hair. They thought she's going to fit in like influencers and PR, so they just put me in that role and I did fit. So they were very good, the talent team. They knew exactly what they're looking for.
Hi, so I'm Suraj. I'm a technical manager here at Huel. The technical team are a team of food scientists who look after food safety, quality and legality.
What's the most surprising thing that people don't know?
It's not as simple as 100, 200 years ago, one person would bake a loaf of bread. There's a lot more complexity that goes into that process now these days.
What's the most exciting product you've worked on?
I think recently we've launched a noodle, so noodles in a pot. It was a completely new format for us. It was formed out of a need rather than a want, in terms of it didn't work in our current existing pouch format to have these long stringy noodles. We couldn't get the right scooping. So we very quickly had to pivot, find a new solution, and now we've got these really handy, convenient little pots They're really taking off really well. We started from wanting to just do 2 flavours because we had to. Now we're talking about 4 flavours, 5 flavours, different varieties coming into the pots.
Take that product that you've launched, noodles in a pot. What's your role in that?
So my role in that is looking after the scientific side of how we process it, making sure it's safe, making sure it's high quality, and making sure it's consistent. How are we going to make this product? Where are we going to manufacture it? What is it going to look like? And everything that goes into that, artwork, labelling, packaging, that whole holistic approach is all within technical.
Are you the slightly boring guys? Like the ones that are always like, come on, we can't risk it, etc.
Yeah, there's a misconception completely.
You're the compliance team, like in a bank.
Yeah, I think everyone thinks of technical as the team that say no.
Yeah.
I think our team and the way that we've curated our team, the approach we have is what's the best way of saying yes.
Why are we sat in the gym?
Well, we are sat in a gym, as you can see. The gym is not my job, but having this function on site within Huel is fantastic. We've got loads of nice facilities here. Yeah. We're really well looked after when it comes to coffee, food, but also gym space. Yeah. So I'm a powerlifter. I compete in my spare time. Oh, wow. Really interesting. For me, it's something that's been nice, consistent over the last 10 years. Get to go to the gym, get to work out, work up a sweat, make friends, socialise as well. So this is a nice space bonding, where right? I can do that. I've met loads of people across Huel that I never would have met otherwise. I don't have any overlap with, but we're now great friends because of the time we spent in the gym.
And can you show us some powerlifting?
Yeah, sure. What would you like to see?
I don't know. I don't know what powerlifting is. I'm quite like...
Well,
yeah, I was going to say,
got to have a bit of a warm-up.
Look at the size of these guns. He'll be off and be throwing this up and down.
He's doing it with the mic on, Jesus.
Yeah, we get the full kind of thing. So how many of these, like, what's the most you can lift?
So this is a squat. The most I've ever done for a single is 200 kilos.
Chelsea boots, cashmere top, normal gear right for this? Oh my God, I can't even lift that. Jesus, me. My dad is gonna...
Yeah, no, I'm ready on the spot, don't worry.
My dad is going to complain about my shoes.
We can get lower than that. Go on, Jimmy.
Oh, I'm not even in the middle of it.
Come on. We need to get 1. There we go.
Oh, that's not a job for me, powerlifting. Not that it was in the top 10 options anyway.
So we're about to go into our sensory booths. You're here in our laboratory. What these are is they're basically a tasting and sampling booth. So we can set up products. We can hide certain things about the products. It's really to understand on a deeper level what you're tasting, get individual feedback, and help that to drive our product development to make sure that our product is the best it can be.
And it's all dark?
So yeah, so the reason we make it dark and we have lights is to try and minimise the impact of other things that might impact on your sensory. So things like the colour of things, we can use the lights to fade that out so things look a lot more similar. We try and keep it in isolation. If you're next to someone and they're wincing or making faces, it can influence your perception of that taste as well. Yeah. So we try and do it completely independently in these booths. We've got scorecards and ranking systems that we do for all of our products.
Oh, amazing. All right, let's give it a go.
So we're going to lock you away to make sure you can do this in private.
Right.
See you later.
Yeah, it was quite like lemony, I would say. Like quite fruity. Quite, yeah, tastes a bit more peachy that time with the different colours.
Should we do the reveal?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's see how well you did.
Oh, cherry and
raspberry. So
that's not bad.
Cherry and raspberry for the second one, and the first one was pineapple and
mango.
Yes.
Which I said was lemon. So that's not bad. That's not that bad. I'm quite pleased with that, actually. I tell you what, it's really tasty. That's topical. James, what's your job here at Huel?
So I'm Huel co-founder, so I've been here since day one.
Yeah.
And I'm also Chief Sustainable Nutrition Officer.
But you were in the NHS before?
I was in the NHS in the late 90s for 7 years as a clinical dietitian, where I helped people with a range of different nutritional needs, including critically ill and enteral feeding, that's like the nasogastric tubes or the PEG tubes.
And what do we know about nutrition now that we didn't know perhaps 25 years ago?
Lots. I mean, have you got 25 years for me to answer that question? This is why I have a little gripe with those people on social media, the pseudo-influencers that claim they'll have the answer to everything, that they can heal you, or there's some magical, that you just can't. Nutrition is complex and there's very, very few things that we know that are hard. One fact that we know is if you have too many calories, that's not, you're going to put on weight, and that's not good for your health. We know that to be true. But what is too many calories? That is a little bit more uncertain. We also know, for example, that there are certain amino acids and fatty acids. Amino acids are the simple units of protein that are essential. We need them. Without them, you will not thrive or survive. And the same with certain vitamins and minerals. Beyond that, there's very, very little that is absolutely known. Yeah. It's very nuanced.
And how did you meet Julian? Like, how did all that kind of co-founding relationship happen?
So Julian's really the principal founder. It's his idea and his initial investment. And he found me, this was in June 2014. Yeah. And I went back to him, and then he gave me the job of coming up with this idea of this nutritionally complete product. And it kind of went from there. He obviously liked what I did. And then it took us a year from then to get to get started. That was June 2015 when we launched.
That was the first time the product was launched.
Yeah, so this was the Huel in the white pouch.
Yeah.
That, although it's changed a bit since then, broadly speaking, it's the same main ingredients from what I developed back in summer 2014.
So how does the teams break down?
Yeah, we've got a lot of people working here and in other offices as well. We've got an office in Birmingham, in London, we've got New York, and we've got one in Germany as well for the German retail team. But here, this is HQ, we call it. We've got the gym, which you've seen, which I think is exceptionally cool. I mean, I've paid to train at worse gyms than the staff gym here. There's no dress code here. People dress what they want, what they're comfortable in. And you've seen the dogs walking about, which is members of staff, right? And that's just a good environment. And there's a bunch of other things we do as well. everyone gets free Huel products to take home with them as well, not just while they're on site. Because
you've just gone past 300 million meals.
Yeah, I think that was a few months ago we passed that, so we're well in the 300 millions now. So we're looking at, the main regions that we sell in at the moment are UK, obviously, USA, EU and Europe, and certain key countries there as well, and also Japan. Okay. We want to progress those and get them working better. For instance, Canada would be one we'd probably like to do at some point. Yeah. But the food regulations there, we've got to tweak the formula a little bit, which we had to do for Japan, by the way. We made a lot of mistakes. This was several years ago. We tried to launch there, and we did launch there. We didn't do a good job at our initial launch. But obviously, there's a language difference there. Canada should be a bunch easier from that perspective.
What do you make of the nation's health at the moment?
In one word, I'll summarise it as concerning. Yeah. There's a lot of controversy at the moment, and some people are saying avoid products with a long list of ingredients because they're necessary. I'm not on board with this. Because some ingredients can be fine. We are privileged to live in the time we do, where we've got food that doesn't perish in 24 hours. We can have bread that lasts a few days and keeps well. It's something we can enjoy for a long time. Yeah.
So you've sold 300 million meals, right? So that means people are consuming Huel every single minute of the day. How does that feel? Are you able to kind of comprehend that?
It's great, but we've still only tapped into 1 or 2% of the market, right? Because a lot of people are repeat buying and stuff like that. So there's still an opportunity for us to expand and have a lot of other people try Huel. Sure, a lot of people now Huel as a name, but there's still a bunch of people that haven't tried it. Yeah. We've got a range of products, of course. Most people are familiar with our ready to drink that they can see in the supermarkets, but that was 3 years in. We had the other products before that. But the initial formula hasn't changed much. We've improved on it a bit, more for the flavour and consistency than anything.
What's the biggest barrier to people trying it at the moment?
People kicking back and saying they don't want to drink their food. Yeah. And that could be negative. Also, there's a bit of an elephant in the room here as well. This term ultra-processed food has been used a lot in the last 18 months. You create a product called Huel that falls into this Nova Category 4, which is the classification, and it does. But my answer to that is, so what? Yeah. Okay. Some of these ultra-processed foods are bad advocates would say something like, anything with a long list of ingredients or any product that makes a health or nutrition claim on it. So breakfast cereals, it falls down. Yeah. So let's look at shredded wheat. Under the classification, that wouldn't be an ultra-processed food. That would be a Nova Category 3, which is the classification system. But it makes a lot of health claims. But some of them have a problem with that because it makes health claims. Let's talk about Weetabix here. That would definitely be an ultra-processed food because of some of the ingredients that are in there. But these are high fibre, nutritious gems that are low in sugar that people have with milk that can provide a good, nutritious food. Yeah. Why should they be demonised? I'm just not on board with this with the term being used in everyday parlance. I have no trouble with the classification. I think the classification is useful, but it's useful only in academic circles for looking at disease patterns related to dietary choice. In the same way, for example, that we look at how much meat you eat is related to disease outcomes, the Mediterranean diet and disease outcomes, plant-based diet and disease outcomes. That should be its limit. I don't think it's useful having it used in everyday parlance by the public. But unfortunately, that's the way it's gone. And there's a lot of other products that are being negatively perceived. And I think the losers here won't be the businesses, it will be the public.
That was an exclusive inside look at Huel HQ. We chatted with the innovative food scientists behind the new products, the insightful analysts who identify market trends, the technical experts who bring these products to life, and the creative marketing team ensuring Huel is a social media staple. Plus, we heard from the co-founder about Huel's history and exciting future. If you enjoyed this video, click here to watch our episode with James Timpson of Timpsons.